15 minutes, they give me a great big shock. Like Simran told me within the first 5 minutes that she started her career as a school teacher, and today she has participated in Mrs. India, and she runs a large company training people for the pageants. Yesterday, Devangana told me that her mother has a school and she's taking care of the school right now in Dehradun, right? So people have been giving me shock. So unless you give me a specific shock, I will not interrupt you. Let's hear your story, Sapna. Your childhood, how you became what you are today, and why are you doing what you are doing today?
So I will try and give you pleasant surprises rather than shocks, Malloy.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me begin
Yes.
with my childhood. I'm an only child to my parents. So growing up, I've had a very cushioned and protected childhood. I was fortunate to have very loving and liberal parents, very, very progressive minded parents. They didn't exercise much control or put any kind of pressure on me. I do not remember a single time being forced into doing anything I didn't want to, whether it's food or whether it's any habit, you know. Everything was resolved through a conversation where I had an equal voice from as early as an age that I can remember. My parents valued education tremendously.
Okay.
My childhood was in Gujarat and I was a relatively bright student. So my parents felt that I would do much better if I had more exposure. So when I was 14 years old, I came to Mumbai to study. And then I've been here ever since.
Sorry, when you were 14 years old, you came to Mumbai?
Yeah.
Okay.
From Gujarat.
From Gujarat.
I was in the 7th grade and I came for schooling here.
Okay, interesting.
It was very clearly understood by me that I was coming to Mumbai for a better future. And hence I eagerly accepted it. And fortunately it paid off because I did end up studying very well, you know. So that was my school, and then I did my engineering. I got married at 22 years immediately after I completed my engineering. And after that, I joined my husband's firm. It's a technically driven organization when I joined it, I felt pretty lost there.
Okay.
I tried my hand at marketing, but that too needed techno-commercial skills. So my being there at work was more like interfering rather than contributing, because I just kept asking questions to everyone, you know. What I got present to, however, in the early days is that the organization was managed in very traditional ways, like ad hoc communication, working in silos, etc. So I thought there was something I could contribute and add value to. Hence, I enrolled myself in a management course to understand better that aspect of running an organization.
Okay.
So that's when I did my management. You know, when I look back at how I was brought up, a lot of self-confidence and self-esteem comes from there in me, in taking up challenges in life and in what I do today. So today, as a parent of 2 kids, I'm also very conscious of not controlling them or deciding for them. Like, I always make it a point to go down to their level, listen to them, respect their point of view, you know, connect with them, and always make them feel heard. Of course, today's times are different and there are many more aspects to parenting. Back then, it was, I guess, easier for our parents. But, you know, I take parenting as a huge responsibility, as I feel we are creating a future.
Okay.
So that's like a gist about my childhood and growing up. I mean, more of my journey is, I think, after I joined my husband's organization, and I got married pretty young. So a lot of my experiences come from there.
So I understand that a lot of your experience, I'm sure we'll get into all those experiences as we go forward. But tell me, how did this entire journey from Gujarat?
Yeah, Surat.
Surat, okay, Surat, not too far from Mumbai.
Yeah.
Surat to Mumbai. So your parents relocated, or you came?
No, it was just me. I was here with an aunt. They were in Surat.
So why did you come here? Why not Surat?
So for better education. So both my parents are educated in Bombay. My father shifted to Surat for his business. So somehow they felt that, Mumbai gives much more exposure, much more polish to the child. And I was really bright at my studies. So they felt that the schools in Surat didn't do justice to, whatever I was. So they wanted to give me the best, I guess.
So okay.
Yeah.
So how did you feel then? When you were told by your parents that you will stay away from us and get educated in Mumbai?
So, as I said, my parents were never somebody who expected anything from me. Even growing up, though I was such a good student, my parents used to only look at whether I passed or failed every exam. At least to me, at least to my eyes. I mean, that's all I had to prove to them, kind of. So, I mean, it was always in me that if they have decided this for me, it is the best for me. So, it went very naturally for me. I came with the flow, and I loved it here. I studied. I've never felt that my parents are not with me, because we would talk every day. Surat is very nearby, as you said. So once a month, they would always drop by. Vacations, we would meet.
Interesting. So it was never that you're staying away from your parents. So the point I'm trying to address out, or trying to figure out, Sapna, is what was the independence of decision making you had at that stage of life?
Yeah, so very interesting. So I'll tell you, as I told you, I was my childhood was very cushioned and protected, right? Because I was the only child in Surat. And this was like a blessing in a way, that I kind of got away from parents who really loved me a lot and did everything for me. So here I was literally on my own. I remember times when electricity bill was not paid. And back then there was no e-payment. So then I would have to go with the paper to Santa Cruz East and stand in that queue, make the application. There would be no electricity for 2 days, and then it would come. So I thought things like gas cylinder would get over. So along with my aunt, put it in an auto, take it, get it back. I would have never done this on my own. Or sometimes if I missed the bus to school, my school was nearby, so I would walk to school that morning. I didn't have anybody to say, oh, mama, I said, drop me home. So it taught me a lot, like decision making, independence, resilience. A lot comes in, because, and my father was very clear from my 10th grade when I went to college. The whole household expenditure was put in my hands. And okay, now you manage.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Can you repeat that, please? You were in Mumbai, and your parents were in Surat.
Surat, yeah.
So the household expenses of the Mumbai house.
Of Mumbai. So he would give me the money and not my aunt after I came into college. And he'll say, now you manage. So I would have to write the account. I would have to dispose the money. I would have to make sure that it lasts till the end of the month. I can't spend it out. So huge learning. And I became very self-reliant. And, the best part was my parents trusted me impeccably. Like, I never saw doubt in their eyes, or I never saw them questioning me. So I became more responsible, I think, in that. It was more like, I can't break that trust, so I can do no wrong.
So were you from that, or were your parents from that school of thought, कि pocket money क्यों चाहिए बच्चों को? Because we never got pocket money as when we were growing up. My father used to tell us, पैसा चाहिए तो बताओ, why do you need that money? I'll give you that money. And once you come back and return the change, why do you need pocket money? So we did not have that pocket money concept at all. So were you part of that pocket money? Now, obviously from 10th onwards, you were in that pocket money, because the entire money used to come to you. But when you were growing up, when you were in Surat?
Not really. I think I was a very straightforward kid. I don't think I even spent any money on my own till I reached the 10th. I would go to school, study, come back, do my tuitions, meet friends, have fun, come back. Whatever I needed, my parents would buy me. So
absolutely. So that's how we all grew up. So where is the money to spend on your own?
Yeah.
Because everything is being taken care of.
Right.
Okay. So tell us, now let's move ahead. You did your 10th, and then you did your 12th, and then you did your graduation.
Yeah.
You're an engineer.
I'm an engineer. Yeah.
Why did you get into engineering?
So again, the option was architecture or engineering. So my father was a civil engineer. He was a builder.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do environmental engineering.
Okay.
Back then, environmental engineering was a post-graduation course. So for that, either we had to do civil engineering or chemical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And my father was a civil engineer. So I thought, let me do civil engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will do environmental engineering.
Mm.
But I think after 4 years of engineering, I just didn't want to do anything else.
So you did what? So what did you do finally? Civil?
I got married.
No, married is...
I did civil engineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was out of choice?
Yeah.
Your choice?
You know, I often tell my kids also, growing up, I don't think I even knew I had a choice into anything. Neither did I ever want a choice in anything. I was very happy to go with what my parents tell me, or I mean, we would discuss and usually they would be okay with what I say. So for me, it was very natural that if it's chemical or civil, dad is a civil engineer, I'll do civil engineering. I mean, beyond that, there was no thought.
There was no thinking.
I only knew I wanted to do environmental engineering, you know.
Yeah. Because today we see so much pressure.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm sure you are bringing up your kids in a different way. There are many people who are bringing their kids up in a different way. But there's so much pressure, either from the child to the parent or parent to the child, that you have to become this. So as long as it's from the child to the parent, you still understand that there is an aspiration, there's a passion. But sometimes the pressure from the parents to the children are so humongous that you feel suffocated.
So you know what? A lot of times what I feel is usually the parents are trying to fulfill their dreams through their kids.
This is the third time I'm hearing this statement this week.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to be a better parent, understand the consciousness of the child, the developmental milestones of the child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, understand why your child is behaving the way the child is behaving. I mean, even I have parents in school who are like, the kid should get good marks. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, do you even know why he's not getting good marks? What is his struggle in not getting good marks? Have you ever checked that with him?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's struggling with something, and which is why he's not getting those marks. So why don't you help him with that struggle rather than just expecting him to get good marks, you know?
Right.
And also it's the connection, you know, the parent, we are so busy with doing so many things every day in life. Are we deeply connected with the child? Is the child, you know, thinking that we have their backs and they can come and tell us anything they're struggling with? Neither the schools nor us have that today connection with the kid, you know?
The schooling system has changed significantly from how we were growing up.
Everyone is only expecting from the child, you know? So think of the child.
Think of the child. Today I see people go the third grade and fourth grade students getting online mathematics and chemistry.
Yeah.
Not maybe third grade chemistry, but seventh, eighth grade chemistry online. And sometimes I sit back and wonder what would have happened if you just let go of 6 months.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
So at least for the third, fourth grade students, what would have happened if 6 months chala gaya to chala gaya na? What were the heavens going to fall? Or is this something else that is happening and hence you're asking the students to go there? Okay. So you did engineering out of choice. And then you got married. You didn't do a job. Or did you?
No.
So you found your husband, or your husband found you, or your parents found your husband?
It was a love marriage. So we found each other.
You found each other, okay.
And my dad gave me an option. He said, you either go abroad to study.
Okay.
Or you come to Surat and work.
Okay.
Or you get married. You can't stay in Bombay and do nothing. I didn't want to do nothing. So okay, I'll just get married.
So So you got married.
I got married.
So tell me something, Sapna. Was there ever a chance that you felt neglected, or you had to go into rejection?
So I'll tell you, I was 22 when I got married, as I told you.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally a blank slate at that point, right? Because I was the only child growing up, living in a nuclear family.
Okay.
B, I lived alone from the age of 14.
Right.
So there was not much contact with families or society at large. I always did my own thing, lived in my own world.
Right.
And my husband's family, he has 3 sisters. They are 4 siblings.
Okay.
So from being the most important person in my family, I went to being the 8th most important person in my new family, because everybody was married. So I was the 8th person to enter that family. 4 kids, their spouses. I'm not even counting the nieces and the nephews.
Okay.
Right?
That is interesting.
So that was huge adjusting to, right? Just not getting that importance, not being the center of their existence, which I was for my family.
So were you somebody who was attention seeking when you were growing up?
I was not. No.
Because you got all
attention. So,
because you got all the attention.
I got all the attention.
And now when it came to a family, which is such a large family, and obviously you cannot get the same attention that you had got from your parents. What was the mindset? Galti kar li shaadi karke?
No. I think, so I'll tell you, my mother, I think my parents were very wise, as I told you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she actually sat me down and told me before I got married that, look, you are the only child.
Mm-hmm.
That is a big family.
Mm.
It is going to be difficult for you.
Mm.
She not only told me, she called my husband and told him.
Okay.
You know, that you will have to be there for her because she is going to have a lot of adjusting issues.
Right.
Not only that, she told him, these are her bad habits. Are you okay with them? No complaining later.
So sorry. Now comes the shockers. So you have bad habits? You, no. Sapna?
Yeah, bad habits as in, you know, not very
No, whatever. I know.
Yeah.
We are not talking about those bad habits by the.
Yeah.
But you, the epitome of the strong personality, well-managed personality, you have bad habits?
Well, Malloy, we evolved, right? Today I'm no more the 22-year-old. So, yeah, I've learned along the way.
Mm-hmm. You did. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, she went a step further where she went to my mother-in-law and told her that this is my daughter. And if you try to domesticate her, it is not going to work. She's going to do this way. She's not like this. She likes this. She likes that. Like she actually, the whole level, the playing field was leveled for me, you know, by her.
So before you stepped into your in-laws' house or your husband's house, they already had a visualization of what to expect.
Yeah. And to their credit, they gave me the space. So no complaints there really.
No complaints.
It was more, they were being themselves and it was very different from what I am. So that's okay. That's adjusting.
So tell me, Sapna, you're still in the joint family?
No,
with your in-laws and
my mother-in-law is no more, so my father-in-law lives with us. Yeah.
So a lot of girls I have seen today, in today's generation, young girls, one of the requisites for getting married is that the husband should live alone.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
See, for the first 10 years when I got married, I lived with my in-laws. Okay. And then for the next 10 years, we lived in a nuclear family, just ourselves. And now, since the last 4 years, we are again living together. I would say both have their pros and cons. But if you can, you should let the couple live alone if it's possible. Because they also have a lot of, you know, understanding of each other to do when they get married.
Right.
When there is family, there is family pressure. There is society pressure.
Correct.
So from that point of view, it will be great if the couple can live together for 4-5 years. And then, when they move back to their family, in fact, there'll be a more welcoming atmosphere.
The
Because,
bonding will be stronger.
Yeah, bonding will be stronger.
Bonding will be stronger. What is this passion about social development, Sapna?
Yeah. So, about 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease where I lost partial eyesight. And it's back now. I mean, I got treated and it came back. But at that time, I had to cut back on work. And that gave me time to pause and reflect. This is when I realized that life is so uncertain, There were so many dreams. There was a bucket list which was just sitting there. The topmost thing on that list actually was giving back to the society and causing some positive change in the environment. So instead of diving back into work once I got well, I decided to give some time to the social sector. And, I got presented with a wonderful opportunity through a very close friend of mine. I joined a philanthropy platform where partners contribute not only with money, but also with their time and expertise. We kind of provide a sounding board and a kind of mentorship to the management layer of the NGOs. So here, the impact we can create with this model is huge compared to what I can do on my own. On my own, in the past, whenever I have max taught at an NGO or I've written donation checks to an NGO. But here I'm like a catalyst, enabling change, progress, and there is tremendous fulfillment when I see the contribution and the impact firsthand. So I'll tell you, like during COVID too, there was constant anxiety of how I can help. Mm-hmm. Sitting at home, I mean, there's not much that we can do, right?
Correct.
I live with my father-in-law, so we were very sure we were not going to step out.
Right.
For any reason.
Right.
So we started sending food kits to the nearby Nehru Nagar, through the local grocer. We made stationery kits and sent it to the kids there, stationery, so that they stay occupied. We collected books from friends and set up a library in the Anganwadi there. But that was in the initial days of the lockdown. And after that, what? So I was talking to a friend and she suggested that why don't we launch a fundraising campaign or raise funds, because that's the best we can do sitting at home. So we partnered with this NGO that I'm already associated with. And with my kids' friends and our cousins, we were 27 of us, we launched a fundraising campaign on a crowd funding platform. Mm-hmm. And we collected 32 lakhs.
Amazing.
Yeah. And all this was used to distribute food kits to daily wage earners who, had lost their livelihood. So I feel that when there is a way, when there's a will, and if you talk to people about it, some possibility will open up for you somewhere.
So this is an amazing story. And I told you that the women who come here come and give me shocks. Now you gave me a shock at the 24th minute, but that was not a very pleasant shock. And the shock is somebody who has been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, which has taken away part of our eyesight, which is one of the most vital organs of us, right? Who are we if we can't see properly? And you understand the mental trauma that you must have gone through. How did you cope with that? No, because I'm sure at that point in time, sir, there would be some question somewhere, will I recover my eyesight?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, so when I lost my partial eyesight, the doctors also said that this could be a precursor to multiple sclerosis. Now, so I remember feeling this massive sense of despair. However, I mean, that went on for a few days, and after a few days of feeling miserable, I remember telling myself that this is not what I want for myself. I don't want to feel depressed or anxious for the rest of my life, about my health. And you know what the funny part is, Malay? Mm-hmm. I knew what it was going to take for me to come out of this condition. It takes a lot of like yoga and a lot of health food restrictions, or a lot of meditation, stuff like that, because this is an autoimmune.
Yeah.
So I knew it, but I think I was just waiting for some kind of miracle to happen, because this is a lot of effort, to change your lifestyle. So somewhere when we go through despair, we all know what is needed to come out of it.
Yeah.
We are just not willing to change.
Right.
We are not willing to come out of our comfort zone.
Correct. Absolutely. So how did you motivate yourself to come out of that? Because it is a huge, it's a huge stress.
Not really. Like, it's like once you make up your mind to do something, you do it. So I'll tell you, for me, how it works is having a purpose really works. I'll give you a simple example. Every morning when we wake up, say if we are used to getting up with an alarm, okay, so the alarm rings, we don't feel like getting up, but maybe we snooze it 1 or 2 times, but eventually we get up because we have a job to go to. If we don't get up, we might lose our job, we might lose some work. I mean, there's some purpose to my getting up every morning.
Correct.
So that way, even with life, if I have a purpose with my existence, then I want to live. Today, I want to raise my kids well. Today, I want to be there for my family. Today, I want to make a contribution to the society. Today, I want to contribute in my business. I have a purpose, and for that, I'm going to get well, and I'm going to be there.
Amazing. How many of us even know what our purpose in life is? And I keep on telling people that for many of us, it's like walking on that treadmill. We travel multiple kilometers, but we don't know where we are going and what are we doing with our life.
So here I again come back to, my upbringing. So I'll tell you, even with my professional journey. So when I finished my MBA and I went back to work, of course, I was armed with all my management fundas, and I wanted to, make all the practices very professional. And you know how it always goes when you want to make a change.
Correct.
And our firm was not only, hugely male dominated. Most of the managers were the ones who had risen through the ranks, which meant that they had been with the firm for many, many years, some even from the start. So one thing I constantly got was, यहाँ तो ऐसे ही चलता है. आप नए आए हो, आप हमारा सुनो, यहाँ तो ऐसे ही चलता है. So there again, what I saw there is the company had an excellent team of people who are very loyal to the company.
Okay.
So now, instead of asking them to change, the context that I thought I will make is, we need to change. Like, I started educating them about the world outside, how the world is changing, and if we don't change, we will be left behind. If we'll be left behind, the company will not grow, they will not grow. So, make them see an opportunity in what we want them to do.
Correct. So while you were doing this transformation in your workplace, and like you rightly said, it's a family managed business. Second generation or third generation? Your husband is the second gen, right? Your father-in-law set up the business, and at that point in time, loyalty had a lot of importance. So you grow through the ranks because of loyalty in most cases, that we are stuck with the people. So we are very close to the owner of the firm, which is your father-in-law.
Absolutely.
And you are also in a business which is textiles, which is a hardcore manufacturing business, right?
Traditional business.
It is not one of those fancy digital businesses and ad businesses or anything of that.
Exactly. So, I was dealing with people who were maximum 10th or 12th pass.
Correct.
Even people who were in the head office were people who were working for many years, and they were very set with the legacy ways of working.
Yeah. So when you're managing so many people, on one side you have your husband and father-in-law who has given you some leeway to go and make some changes, and you have this vast number of people who are not willing to listen to you. And the only reason that probably even hearing you out is because you're the boss's wife.
So I'll tell you there also, there's a story to it. So as I told you, when it was a very technically driven company. So, I mean, I really told myself that let me do something nobody else here knows.
Okay.
So that they stop advising me.
Okay.
Because everything else I tried to do, they would say, oh, we know it better and this is how it's done, right? So now this getting in, say, quality management systems or, other tools and techniques of productivity is something nobody knew.
Right.
So I was like, I need to find my niche. I need to be a differentiator and I need to do my own thing. That is the only way I'll be able to do what I want, what I believe in. So which is where I found this gap, and it was also a gap. The company needed it. And which is how I took it up.
And
we introduced a lot of quality management systems. We got ourselves certified at a lot of levels. It brought in a lot of standardized processes in the company. It gave the brand a lot of reliability, It needed constant education, pushing, auditing was required all the time. But I think whenever you want something to happen, you have to work on it like your life depends on it. Uske पीछे पड़ जाना पड़ता है. Like, किसी का नहीं सुनना है, मुझे यही करना है. You have to have that courage of conviction. Otherwise, it becomes like we are very used to the chalta hai attitude.
My God, you're saying something very, very powerful today.
With all these initiatives, obviously I wasn't the most favorite person in the firm.
Right. I can understand that.
Yeah. However, then what I did was I found some people who understood me, who resonated with what I was saying.
Okay.
And they became my eyes and ears in the company. They became my champions.
Okay.
Change management is never easy. And I feel you have to be detached there, and you have to just have your goal in mind. See, the goal was the betterment of the company, the growth of the company.
Right.
Okay. So just because people didn't understand it, they are not bad or I am not bad. It's not that they don't like me. They're just not liking what I'm doing.
Right.
You have to keep all this in your mind and just keep the end goal in mind that, yeah, it is for the betterment of everyone and the company. So when the purpose is higher than yourself, you're not attached to it. And that's what keeps you going.
Interesting. Very interesting when you're saying that what you do if on a daily basis, you are telling people or you're telling yourself that my life depends on that probably tomorrow, there is no tomorrow. I have to do it today.
For something that I badly want, if that is not the attitude, we just don't end up putting in the needed efforts,
So how did you handle the rejections?
So
because I'm sure you had rejections in your workplace, and how would you handle it at home? Let's ask some blunt questions. If the team member did not listen to you, and what would you do? Would you try to sort it out on your own, or would you come to your husband or your father-in-law and say, "Ye change karna hai, ye nahi sunte hain, ye kya?"
No. We never brought work home. That was one thing. Okay. The other thing that my husband and me decided early on is we will never work in the same function.
Correct.
So we were completely separate in office. We just, worked complementary to each other, but we never worked together.
Okay.
So you're right. There was a lot of struggle where managers would not listen to me. They would go and complain. They would blame me and my systems for not getting their work done. I mean, it happens. That.
It happens. Yeah, it always happens.
But, so how do you win them? Because the idea was to win them, to get them on my side, right?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, we had launched an e-platform, an ERP. So in the company, where managers are very reluctant to use it, because obviously by then they have to become very organized, which they are not used to. Or kaam ho raha hai na? From their context, if you see, when without getting onto this platform, unka kaam to ho hi raha hai. They are delivering. So I said, okay, we gave them each an assistant, an IT assistant.
Each of them an IT assistant.
Each of them who would do all the data entry. See, it may not be the right thing to do, but this is what worked. This is when they started seeing the strengths of the platform. They started seeing the results coming out of it. And eventually they got, hooked onto it. So I feel for all challenges, you have to just look for opportunities, because there are ways and means of doing it if you really want to get it done. Now here the end goal was that the managers, it was not that mera sun nahi rahe, that was not the end goal. The end goal was कि company का काम और अच्छी तरह होना चाहिए.
Correct.
So now how do I make these managers present to that fact? So when you start thinking on those lines, your answer will come, right? That okay, ठीक है, वो नहीं कर सकते, वो नहीं सीख सकते, so let's just get them somebody. Ultimately, the goal is fulfilled, right? End of the day, they got presented to the fact that this is something we need.
So that's a very interesting statement that you're making, and I would like you to probably stay there for a while. That how do you differentiate between a thing not happening and a person not doing it? Because I think you strongly differentiated that.
Yeah. You know, I'll tell you, any people, whether in personal life, professional life, or even kids for that matter, if they are not doing something you want, see, either they've not understood you, either they don't know how to do it, or they don't understand why they need to do it. So you have to go to their level. You have to talk to them and understand why they are not doing it. What is the issue? And then you solve it for them and they'll do it. My employees are coming to work every day. They're anyways working, whether they have to work this way or that way. But if I give them the necessary structure to work in, the comfortable structure, they will work my way.
Yeah.
You get it?
Absolutely. So, absolutely. This is what I wanted to hear from you, that people in most cases don't see the value of that change.
Yeah.
And we then push the change onto them and there's rejection.
Absolutely.
If you can show them the value about why that change needs to be done, I think a lot of these issues will be resolved. Okay, let's move away from your factory for now. And let's come to the main theme of this discussion. You are not what you look. You are an extremely strong individual. You have a strong mind. You have a strong will. You're process driven. You have done everything hands-on. I see today's generation, and I've been teaching for multiple years, and I've been also coaching people both in life and business. And I see a lot of people who are always blaming the external environment for why they are what they are. And in many cases, I see COVID as an excuse.
Oh, yeah.
It is not the true reason. There's still organizations who are doing not as at that level, but still doing well with or without COVID. I see there is a lot of excuses that are coming. COVID aa gaya to ye nahi hua, Corona aa gaya to ye nahi hua, Corona aa gaya to... When you ask them a question, what had happened before Corona, you'll still get a blank. What would you tell those individuals? And I'm sorry to say, there is a lot of such people who are coming up through the ranks of the education system, who are on that excuse phase and the blame phase. What would you tell them?
So you know what, I'll answer this in a bit, but one thing I want to say about even the whole COVID situation is, we have to accept it that these are indeed unprecedented times. These are unexpected circumstances that has put us all in a jeopardy.
Correct.
So when the condition is only unusual, not many usual solutions are going to solve it. Okay. So the only way to deal with it is to really deal with it. Like you have to be a realist. You cannot be an optimist or a pessimist. You have to be a realist. Realist is the one who just goes there and does whatever it takes. Right?
Yeah.
So now I'll tell you, it's like the one who changes the sail of a ship as per the wind. Right? If I'm sailing, say, I'll give you an example. Let's take the sail example. From somewhere I'm coming to Bombay in a ship, and there's a storm on the way, and my ship cannot come to Bombay. So do I struggle in that storm, or I change the sail of the ship to the direction and it takes me to, say, Goa? Now, very hypothetical. I'm coming to Mumbai looking for a livelihood, a job, but I have not reached Bombay because there's a storm in between. So I go to Goa. I look for a job in Goa. I do that job in Goa, and eventually I think of coming to Bombay from there. You get it?
Absolutely.
So so today you may not get things exactly how you want now. You'll have to make do with what is. That way at least you will survive. Else you will succumb in the storm. If you are like, no, I will go to Bombay only, I want a job there only, you would have never survived in that storm there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So people are, you have to be open-minded right now. Like there's a huge change in the ecosystem. And, over evolution, if you see, all living creatures have adapted to the change in environment, even as a science. Okay. People who not adapted have gone extinct. And people who have adapted have survived. So which is what we need to do today. We need to come out of our fixed ways of thinking. That is the need of the hour. We can't expect the situation to change to our way. We'll be left behind.
So what do you tell those people? What do you tell? Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Like if I'm a restaurant owner, a very simple example because it's already happening. I cannot wait for the lockdown to, open and restart my restaurant. I have become a home delivery service.
Right.
Now, it's not the best case scenario for me because I am a fine dining restaurant, but it is helping me survive right now. If I don't do it, I will not even survive in this time.
Absolutely.
So people will have to pivot. They'll have to find out how they can be of value in these new times. Okay, complaining and worrying is a sign that you are being scared to come out of your comfort zone. You cannot stick to what you've been doing. It may no longer be needed in this new scheme of things. If you look at all the success stories also, say minus the COVID, the successful people are always reinventing themselves. Okay, they are always upskilling themselves. They're constantly learning. They're adapting to the needs of the marketplace. A very prominent example is Mr. Sundar Pichai. He's a mechanical engineer. But see where he is today because at that time IT industry had the maximum demand. So he didn't stick to just where he was. He adapted. So, the people who are cribbing and complaining are actually, they need to ask themselves that what is it that they authentically want.
And how many, sorry to interrupt you, and how many of us are actually working on what do we want from life?
Yeah. So, now you are saying people who have lost jobs.
Yes. Okay? Yes.
So they can try cold calling companies. They can tell them how they can contribute to the firm. Example, but doing this will need them to do a lot of research to find out about the company, to upskill themselves to be of value. Now people don't want to do all this. They want some magic to happen. They want the easy way out. So they're waiting.
And there's no magic wand. And there's no magic wand. There's no magic wand in this world.
Yeah. You should talk more and more to people and you will find more opportunities. Possibilities are always in the listening of other people. So, students who are losing out on education or internship, they can take online courses. They can explore if they can intern with companies here. They can ask the universities if there are any online courses that can give them credits. There's a lot to do. They can make a community of the students itself who are here stuck and do something, do a project, do a community project, because even that will help you in your resume.
I'm asking a very direct question to you, Sapna.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel sad or do you feel upset when you see the youth, not everybody, let's not generalize, but a lot of people sitting and cribbing that mera zindagi khatam ho gaya COVID ke karan? I feel upset. I feel terribly upset about it.
Yeah, I do. So here again, my upset is not so much geared towards the youth or the kids because they are a product of their upbringing, of the environment, of their schooling, their parenting. They don't know any better. What I feel is today there's so much awareness. There's this whole WhatsApp university. We have so much of internet. It's high time parents realize that this style of parenting is not working, where you give everything to the child. he's just expected to perform, he's just expected to succeed, because then the child is expecting a right condition for him to work in and succeed.
Oh,
Because
fantastic.
It's always been given to him.
Yeah.
I have seen in my school, there are kids who get the rankers, the so-called rankers. घर पे, in the morning when they wake up, दूध तैयार होता है उनके लिए. They have to drink that milk, uniform तैयार होता है. They have to get ready, wear the uniform, bag तैयार होती है. They go down, driver तैयार है, गाड़ी में. Does he have to think or do anything? The only thing he has to do is study and get good marks.
But that is not life.
That is not life. But then kids are being raised like this. And this is the youth of today, which has been raised like this.
Correct.
So they are waiting for that perfect condition to happen. Like now, if you ask the kids what kind of company you want, so they'll have a big list. I want a company that has this and that has that, and it should have a purpose and it should have a happiness quotient. And I mean,
absolutely.
There is no such thing.
There's no such thing. Life is not getting everything on the platter.
Yeah.
And what happens when you get things on the platter, and what happens when the platter is taken away for a while? How do you endure life?
So, I always tell my kids, this is a very basic thing. Like when they crib and complain about things, I always tell them that, see, God is watching everyone. When you crib and complain, he will think, what's the point of giving these kids anything? They don't value already what they have. So God is like, I rather give it to someone who values what they have. At least it will make them happy. And they will also get, they will also give value to somebody out of it. So if you don't take care of what you have, if you don't value what you have, you will not get anything more.
Awesome statements, awesome thought processes, Sapna. I'm so happy.
So, you have to be in gratitude, count your blessings. Gratefulness is, a measure of aliveness. So, you were telling me about these people. Now, it's my guess that most of these people have a roof on their heads and 2 square meals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? Oh, and a wardrobe full of clothes.
Yeah. So, this is the time they should take to reflect. What is their long-term goal? What is their short-term goal based on that? What is it that excites them? Why are they doing what they're doing? Whatever career path or education they are taking, is it just to earn a livelihood or anything beyond that? What is the purpose? They can take this time out to develop themselves, read, learn from success stories. Because companies and successful people have always overcome adversaries in their lives, and found opportunities to grow. So they can get present to all this right now, rather than, like you say, cribbing and complaining.
Watching Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Oh my God, yeah. Talk to people, try to find ways. We live in the digital world, seek advice on the blogging network. Like there is always a way to work through this rough weather. See, you have to make trade-offs, but that's adaptation.
Correct.
It's a war. I feel we'll all come out of it, but a bit injured. We have to be ready and strong for it. We have to accept that fact.
And personally, I believe, Sapna, the world will be a very different place as we come out of it. And today the indications are such. I was hearing Mr. Pawan Munjal speaking about in the morning, where he says, even in the period of lockdown, we ensured that we sold. And he sold 1 lakh bikes in the month of May. It is a drop from 6 lakhs. But he says, at least we have sold. At least the motivations have been up, right?
Absolutely.
And today, 96% of the distribution channels are working. 90% of the supply chains are working. I think first we need to look at our positive side rather than complain, rather than look at what's happening.
So successful companies will always find opportunities. I'll tell you what happened with our firm. Okay.
Yes.
We make woven fabrics, technical textiles, right? Now, with the situation, PPE kits are very much in shortage.
Yeah.
The healthcare workers. So my team thought that, can we make the PPE kits? PPE kits are generally non-woven. It is not from the fabric that we make.
Correct.
But somehow we had a fabric which we got it tested and it gave the protection from the virus. Okay, so we made a kit out of it, and we presented it to the government authority who got it tested, and the kit passed. Now this suit is something you can wash 5 times and reuse. You don't even have to throw it at one go. Now this is not what we do. We do very niche in the textiles, but this is the need of the hour. And when you look at it from that point of view, you will see your opportunity.
You will see, and like you rightly use the word pivot. You need to pivot. You need to pivot. Like
we can't be like, oh, hum log wo nahi bana sakte. It's a very routine market, and you can't get into that. You know, right now that is the need of the marketplace, and you have to cater to that. Yeah. That's business.
That's business. Like one of my clients, they're into the family businesses, into office furniture. So either you shut down or they pivoted and started making hospital beds.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they survived. So they became essentials. So their factory survived. Okay. Sapna, heard a lot about your passion, and you come out as extremely passionate. And I'm sure you have, and because you yourself are so passionate about purposes of life, I'm sure you have the purpose drawn out. What next for Sapna? She's director of Kusumgar. She's in the social development space, currently doing the food packets for people through the crowdfunding route. Done all that. Helping her children grow up, taking care of the house, the husband and the father-in-law and the extended family. What next, Sapna? You're young. What next? Where do you see yourself?
You know, so I feel life is a game. And my constant goal is to keep getting better and better at playing it. You know, keep getting better and better at balancing my various roles. I think of myself as a lifelong student, you know, who constantly challenges the status quo so that I can create something new. And every time the journey is more or less the same, which is why I call it a game. You know, there is basically a lot of unlearning and relearning each time. So,
and that unlearning is something that we don't want to do as
don't want to do, but that's the game. You know,
that's the game we need to play.
Game, yeah. So that's life constantly, and that's how you evolve, and that's how you grow.
So asking on a slightly wider canvas, do you see yourself only with Kusumgar, or do you see yourself setting up another enterprise? Do you see yourself more active in the social space? Do you see yourself as a mentor? Because you can become a great mentor and a life coach. Do you see yourself walking in that path? Where do you see yourself? Yeah. Or where do we see yourself 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
So I'll tell you now, I had actually enrolled in a coaching program before the lockdown. It was not really from any personal, you know, career change or anything, but I thought it would help me with everything that I do. If I understand what is mentoring, what is coaching. Right now, priority for me is my children, which is also another big reason why I am still working in my family business, because it gives me a lot of flexibility. So yeah, for me, as I told you, I take parenting very responsibly. I think I'm raising a future. Kids don't know. I know, right? From what I know.
Correct.
So I want to be there for them, guiding them. I don't want to be like a helicopter mother, but I want to be there for them. They need to know that when they come home at 4 o'clock, I am there if they need me. They may not see me till 9 o'clock, but I am there. They need to know that. So priority right now is, you know, raising them. Primary. Then of course, there's business and social sector, and there's everything else which is important.
You don't seem to be don't seem to be a socialite, right? Are you?
I am not so much. Yeah, no.
Not so much in the social. So I see you more on that slightly serious path of what can I do for society per se, because children is part of that future society. Your children.
Yeah, so that's saying, you know, if you want to give something back, your bucket needs to be full. If your bucket is empty, you can't do anything. So it's not that I only am very serious. I need to, I mean, I have my fun.
Sure, absolutely.
Absolutely. You know, the travels and the friends, and so there are ways and means with which we fill our bucket and enjoy our lives, and which is how we can give back.
No, which has actually led me to possibly my last question before there are a few messages that has come on WhatsApp to me for people to ask for advice. How do you de-stress? There's a lot of things that is happening in your life simultaneously.
So you know,
and sorry to interrupt. And whenever you go to your factory, to your manufacturing unit, you cannot carry the personal stresses to workplace, especially as one of the bosses, not even the boss's wife, as one of the bosses. An employee can do that. Employee can demonstrate to people, I'm very low, आज घर में झगड़ा हुआ, आज ये है, health ठीक नहीं है इसका. But as one of the owners of the business, you cannot do that. How do you manage this?
So, you know, you always need to give yourself a breathe in and a breathe out time, is what I call it. I call it a breathe in and a breathe out time.
What's that?
So, you know, breathe in is all your stressing activities, everything that stresses you out, and breathe out is what de-stresses you. So in my whole day, I always put in breathe out activities. I make sure, so if, you know, morning I meditate, so if that's a breathe out activity. Then suppose there's work to do, then I will listen to music for 10 minutes. Like you need to keep giving you that breathe out. Talk to a friend while you're traveling, or you know, just see TV for half an hour if you have the time. But you need to put these breathe out activities within the day. There's no larger thing like go and do a course and you know, go for a retreat. In your everyday life, you need to give yourself that breathe out time, and that really cushions all your stress.
Interesting. My biggest learning, I need to figure out my breathe out times during the day and plug it into the default calendar that I have.
Yeah, and it also has its effect on the body, right? That's why it's called breathe in and breathe out. So when you breathe out, even your body relaxes. And I think your chemical changes happen and all that.
No, very important, because I think not all of us have a default calendar. I have a default calendar, and more so in that work from home and work in home kind of thing, where a lot of people are today and that's one of the questions that I have. There's a lady who's asking that I have to work in the house, I have to work for the company in my house, sitting in the house. How do I find my me time?
Yeah. So it happened with me even when the lockdown started. I kept thinking that I am doing overtime now. You know, there's no lockdown for me because everybody's at home and you need to take care of them. So which is when, you know, we sat down as a family and we made some essential agreements in the house. So we wrote down, like my husband has to work from so much to so much time. I have to work from so much to so much time. We don't have as much staff as earlier. So essential agreements will be everybody will make their own bed. We will wash our own plates. We will not call out to the help for anything. We will do our own things. So we made these agreements as a family. So now when you get everybody in, including my father-in-law, so everybody buys into that and everybody follows it. And we take care of everyone there, right? My child will say, I want this, so that is taken care of. So we made this and we've been like that since the last 4 months. Doing good.
I understand. Because to be honest, a lot of families, large families, small houses, multiple people working has been stressful. So there have been situations of mental health.
So here, as I said, you know, these are unprecedented times. So we have to do unusual things to survive in this. I mean,
we need to find unprecedented solutions to this.
Yeah, we cannot go by what used to work.
Yeah, it will never. Then you will be in that stress. Okay, one more question before we close, and it's already 1 hour, and I think we can go on and on talking about our life. There's this young man who's saying, he probably comes from a well-to-do family.
Mhm.
He says, I had enrolled into Stanford and wanting to go there and experience that education. Now Stanford is saying for the next 1 year, you have to work, you have to study from home. What do you suggest I do? Should I give up Stanford altogether? Because this is not what I wanted when I enrolled for Stanford.
So
If let me just add, if this was to happen with your child, God forbid.
I got it.
Yeah. What would be your reaction?
We need to ask the question that why do I need to go to Stanford? Okay. So probably the answer is it's a great college to go to. It will make my future. Okay. Then it's the future that's so important. So yes, you need to wait for that 1 year because you're thinking long term. In the larger scheme of things, 1 year doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely.
But on the other hand, you can use it as a gap year. A lot of kids are taking gap years. So you can enroll in something else which is interesting and use it to your advantage. There are many other universities which are providing courses which are there on site. Go there 1 year, then go to Stanford. I mean, it really depends on your priorities. Why do you want to go to Stanford and how important is it to you? You need to analyze that. And if it's Stanford and it was my kid, then yeah, I would wait for 1 year.
So obviously, you'd wait for 1 year because in the larger scheme of 75, 80 years of your life, what is 1 year?
What is one? And it's not, to begin with, how many kids get into Stanford?
Exactly.
So I mean, why would I even think of not going to Stanford? I would wait for 2 years for it. I mean, honestly, I would just do some other course for 2 years.
Or even work, maybe.
Yeah.
Or even work.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, Sapna, thank you so much for your time. But finally, you come from an entrepreneurial family.
Right.
Both at your parents, your father was a businessman, your in-laws are businessmen. And these are unprecedented times for business owners, especially in the SME, MSME sector.
Right.
People have not even seen this kind of turmoil in so many years, where there is no certainty of when things will normalize. There's a cash crunch. You have to take care of your employees. You have to take care of your family. You have to take care of your of the customers and the businesses and so on and so forth. In the midst of that, you have to maintain as a business owner your peace of mind, right? And you have to take some probably drastic actions as well, both in terms of family as well as in terms of profession, right? You have to, because again, unprecedented. Absolutely. What would be your advice to a lot of the small and medium business owners who are only seeing darkness in front of them? They've run out of cash and they're seeing darkness in front of them. What would be your piece of advice for them?
It's the same what I said earlier. Adapt. You have to adapt. You go out, talk to people, go to your network of people. You are saying many people are coming to you for coaching.
Yes.
So talk to a life coach. Explore all the possibilities that you have. Make a list without any constraints. Say if there were no constraints, what was possible? Okay, by constraint, I mean that bank will not give me the money, or my vendors will not pay me, my customers will not pay me to help, or the rent, the landlord will not let go of the rent. Go and talk to everyone. Something may click. Are you doing that? A lot of people are not doing that. They're just sitting and assuming.
Correct. Absolutely.
So when you go out there, when you talk, form a community of such people, you will come up with ideas. Go to platforms, they will help you. Basically, you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I think too many people, I totally agree with you what you're saying. Too many people are not taking action. Yeah. And they're only contemplating.
They're only assuming.
Only thinking.
Yeah.
And I remember I said this when I started the webinars, when I do the business coaching webinars, when I started doing it in the first week of April, I said, results is out of action. Results is not out of learning. You may sit back and learn through as many webinars, because there are 10, 15 webinar invites all of us get every single day.
Yeah.
You may learn as much as possible. It's good, but your results is out of action. So what are the actions you're taking?
Yeah.
And like you rightly said, go and talk to people.
Talk to people. I'll give you an example. Okay,
Yeah.
A business associate of ours. So he had to repay the loan, and the bank was not. He didn't, whether to take the moratorium or not. He was moratorium. So he went to the bank. He told the bank that, look, this is my record. This is my history. I have been a good customer of yours. I have always paid on time. I have always, been very disciplined with my payments. Why would you not consider, So 20% of his loan was waived off.
Was waived off.
Have you heard of this?
No. Unprecedented again.
But he went with this preparation, right? He must have taken his 20 years of record. He convinced that guy. If it was waived off or it was, the percentage was reduced, details I don't know.
Whatever. He got a benefit.
He got some relief. He got some relief out of it.
So which also means on the other side that when it's possible, please be disciplined. Because this guy was disciplined for whatever number of years that he was paying on time and etc. That when it came to a difficult time, the lender was willing to give him a leeway.
So the biggest learning from here is, what are our savings? How much buffer do we have? If our business cannot survive 6 months of no income, are we really doing it right?
Absolutely.
Is our business healthy enough to begin with?
Absolutely. True for families, no?
True for families.
If you can't survive with no income for 6 months, then what are you doing with your with your savings and your income and your expenses?
Absolutely.
Are we overspending on things which we actually don't need?
Yeah.
Like I think last week somebody, as we close, I just want to share what she said. Last week somebody told us that I have a wardrobe full of saris and dresses, but over the last 8-10 weeks, I have just worn 4 of my dresses and washed them and reworn. I have 2 Mercedes standing outside. They're all dirty like any other Alto or any other car. So are we at some point in time trying to impress somebody else by our spending?
Absolutely.
If you have the money, please go out and spend, but not to impress somebody else that I am equal to you, and because a lot of people do that.
Yeah. Needs are always basic.
Needs are always basic.
The
rest is all want, and sometimes we complicate our lives more than it is actually required. We can keep life simple. Sapna, Kusumgar, thank you so much. I think it's been a pleasure. We are 1 hour, 12 minutes, the longest that I've spoken with anyone in the last 8 sessions. And I'm sure this conversation could have gone on and on, but thank you so much for your time. Some of the things that you've shared, and we'll be uploading this video on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Let people listen to how you can come out of difficult situations, and just not because you have money.
Yeah.
You come out of difficult situations because of your mindset and your attitudes. You have come out of difficult situations. You have been independent. You have been forced to become an independent from a very young age, and that has stood you in great stead. And something that I loved that you spoke today about, Sapna, is on the parenting piece, because not too many people are speaking on that parenting piece, because that's where a lot of things can change. So one of my dear friends, Seema Lahiri, who is again a great corporate trainer, she says, thank you, Sapna, could relate to all your ideas and values.
Thank you, Seema.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Malloy, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Sapna. Again, like I tell everybody, I have met Sapna only once in my lifetime before today. And that was in a university event that we, or both of us, happened to attend.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll be eternally grateful to all of you for accepting this request and coming on this and sharing your thoughts. Because if we can transform 11 people, each one of you transforming 11 people, I think the world will be a much better place. So Seema has switched on her video. Seema, thank you very much. Sapna,
Yes,
thank you very much.
Hi, Seema.
Hi, Sapna. And thanks, Mola. It was really nice
Thank you
to
so
hear
much.
both of you.
And for a while, one of our friends also logged in, Adesh. He logged in for a while and he could hear what we said. Thank you so much. God bless. God bless everyone. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.